Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this show, Natural as Elf, our natural health holistic show here on All Things Relevant Media platform. Make sure you go there right now to the Facebook page and go and hit like, share. Also, you can go to YouTube and go there and hit like and follow, where you can follow us, for you can be alerted every time our show come on. And the name of our show is what? Natural as Elf. I just want to thank everyone who has been coming and looking at our show since we started and have been sharing it with others and telling others about the teachings that we teach here on Natural as Elf. I used to have some people used to get offended by the name Natural as Elf. They didn't understand the concept behind it. You're not even listening to the teachings that we were teaching. They just got caught up in the name. But the thing is really saying we're natural as Elf. My name is Frazier, though. So it starts with Elf, and it can be natural as Frazier. But we also say it was natural as Elf, using another word. Some people used to say, man, you natural as Elf. You know, you don't use these other so-called remedies. You don't believe in these type of treatments. You don't believe in these medications. Man, you natural as Elf. So you don't put nothing on your salad. You just sit there and eat just lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers. Man, that's natural as Elf. So it's just a term or statement that people would say, yeah, natural is Ferrante. But it's natural as Ferrante because and I'm just natural as natural hygiene. Natural hygiene is the teachings that we teach. You can't get no natural as natural hygiene. Now, there's many modalities. Now, listen what I'm telling you. There's many modalities out here in the world today. And modality is just a pattern or a practice of art. It's like an art. You got the medical art, you got the chiropractic art, you got the herbal art, all these different, acupuncture. You got all these different people who come at you with different types of healing modalities. They come to you with so many different ways that they say that they can cure you of your diseases. But none of them are natural. All of them has got to deal with some type of chemical poison, some type of herbal poisoning, some type of manipulation to the body, mechanical manipulation, or water manipulation, some type of manipulation. It's not natural. It's not seen in the animal kingdom in nature. In other words, you don't see animals, taking Epsom salt bath. You don't see them taking Tylenols and bear aspirins, and you don't see the bears taking bear aspirin. You don't see, other animals in nature modifying their food, genetically modifying their food. You don't see them combining their food. You don't see animals leaving their mother's breast, getting their breast milk to go and drink the milk of another animal. You don't see that type of stuff in nature. You don't see animals taking vaccines. You don't see animals doing any of the stuff that the medical mentality has been teaching mankind is, as the way to health. It's not the way to health. Now, it's a manipulation and it's a ploy. And so happened, yeah, they've done some advancement in helping mankind, in the case of a stop heart, a wreck, an emergency. You got those arts that can help save in that situation. But when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to proper lifestyle habits, when it comes to environmental cleanliness, they miss the mark. They are in error only because that's not their focus. That's not their practice. Their practice is in medicine. They don't know how to heal you by using fresh air, sunlight, ideal food, rest and relaxation, controlling the passions, keeping nurturing relationships and groups around you, keeping your mind in cheer. Matter of fact, when you go to most of these doctors, they don't console you at all. Matter of fact, they don't want to rouse you up to get sick. Coming there, hey, sir, you got nothing but 2 months to live. You're suffering with irreversible cancer. They come up with some other stuff. They keep you in a state of shock and fear. I guess they're saying it's being brute honest, but they make it so dire because they automatically tells you that there's nothing they can do for you, where they never could do anything for you. But these are the people that we give all our trust to. But we're not going to stay on the medical doctors this whole show. Our whole objective is to get you out of the medical mindset and put you in a holistic mindset. We practice health and hygiene. Now, hygiene being, the correct way to live, in other words. Natural hygiene is the natural way to correctly live. It's not artificial hygiene where you cover up. You want to be healthy, but you use mechanisms to make you healthy. Natural hygiene is where you use nature to keep you healthy. Now, artificial hygiene, you have to pay a lot of money. A lot of people think it costs a lot to, eat fruits and be healthy and stuff like that. But that's not true. It actually takes a lot of money to not eat healthy and not take care of yourself properly, because you're going to end up paying a lot of money in these toxic substances, having to take remedies, having to go to the doctor appointment, having to, have those evasive surgeries that cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Matter of fact, my wife in there now billing a bunch of people for insurance right now for them having to have different surgeries that's ranging from anywhere from a couple of $100 to, thousands and thousands of dollars. And I mean, she stay active. I mean, she haven't really had a day off. She's got plenty of overtime and everything because they have to get those claims in to, get people paid, get the doctors paid for these treatments. And I mean, it's not no little fee. These fees are not small. You don't go in there for a heart transplant thinking that you're going to pay a couple of $100. It's house payments. You can say you can buy your house with how much it costs to have that heart transplant. You might can buy you a couple of houses. Some of those chemotherapy, sessions and stuff like that. Some of those other, you'll say injections and stuff run well into the hundreds and 200,000 per shot, per treatments, and per surgeries, and different things of that nature. So those things are not cheap. It actually costs a lot of money to reverse disease than to prevent it. You can prevent your sicknesses by eating healthy, by getting fresh air, by going to sleep regularly, getting adequate amounts of rest, staying away from toxic people. You can't be hanging around Bob all the time, and Bob always causing you irritation, or Bob causing you confusion. Bob's just not a good person, and especially if Bob got you doing bad things. You need to stay away from Bob or Susie if Susie is the culprit. Getting regular exercise. And these things can't be, the things that we're talking about, such as the cleanliness, fresh air, clean water, ideal food, regular exercise, maintaining normal temperatures, nurturing relationships, those things can't be corrected with medicine when you neglect those things. When you neglect breathing fresh air, you neglect eating right foods, you neglect drinking clean water, you neglect getting adequate rest, you neglect getting proper, regular exercise, your body starts breaking down. It start having, these issues. It start showing symptoms of weakness, symptoms of poisoning, all the symptoms of you not properly living a healthy lifestyle. Now, no medicine can correct that. Medicine can't correct your unhealthy breathing actions. You think it kind of puts me in the mind of me when I was real young, and a lot of people used to laugh at me when I used to do this. I had asthma really bad, and I used to walk around with a bunch of asthma pumps, and but I was smoking Newports at the time, and I would wake up in the morning, barely can breathe, wheezing and all type of stuff, and I would hit that pump a couple of times where I can go back to smoking. And when I start coughing and smoking throughout the day, I hit the pump where I can go in, hit me another cigarette. And I can make sure I can be able to smoke. If I'm coughing and having issues, I go and take that pump. That reminds me of a person who I had another situation. I'm gonna tell you a couple of the situations that I had as I've been coming up through my trial and error of what health is. Another situation where I had high blood sugar, what we call diabetes in the medical way of naming stuff, but it was just high blood sugar. My sugar in my blood used to be really high. It used to be trapped in there. And that's because I had a really high fat diet and I was under a lot of stressful situations. And I used to always keep myself in a stress situation. So my sugar used to build up in my blood a lot. And it used to affect me where I was dealing with candida. I was having other issues happening in my body where I started having sensations all down my leg that was really irritating that they call neuropathy. And I used to, even though I used to have these really high level sugar, I mean, it used to be high. It on the meter when we used to check it, and my wife can attest to it. We used to test my sugar level, and it used to just say high on the monitor. It didn't even have a number on it. You know how you can have some people, it'll show, well, the number is 220, and they'll say, oh, that's high. And some people can be as high as 340 and 550. I think the meter reads all the way up to 700, and past 700, it just put it up there, HI, high. It'd be too high to read. And mine used to be at that point a lot of times going to bed. It used to always be off the chart. It used to be off the beat, right? And once I go to sleep, I'll wake up and it'll be reading again around about 500 or something like that. So I used to wake up in the morning with a sugar level like 580. Go to sleep with it saying high, but 580 by the time. And I'm young. I'm 20 something all the way to 30. I've been having that type of, run in the mill health because of my lack of understanding of how to properly take care of myself. Now I was taking the so-called glucophage and glucophage and all these other little so-called blood sugar medicine. I was taking a bunch of herbs and remedies. Now some of it seemed to work. It appeared to work as a ploy because I would be at high in the evening time, but I want some ice cream. We used to like to go to Dairy Queen and get the peanut butter parfait, and I had to get me two of them. Even if we had to scrape up change, pennies and all, to give Dairy Queen, we were coming up with it to get us a peanut butter parfait ice cream at least every other day. If it wasn't that, we were going to Crystals, getting a couple of them cheese crystal, double cheese crystal. Well, we would make them double because they didn't have doubles back in those days. We would make them double. I would get a couple of them and just smash them together and eat them like that. But I would take the medicine just to get it down 100 or 200 where I can go and eat. Or eat some ice cream or something like that. So I was taking, like, if it would say high, I would take a bunch of medicine just where it can drop down, where I can, about 100 or 200. It's still 400-500, but I'm going to let it drop down where I can go ahead and give me some ice cream. And this here's another scenario. I'm just telling you how I was doing myself. The medicine didn't heal me, didn't correct anything. It just allowed me to indulge in my bad lifestyle even more. Even though I was having breathing problems, the asthma pump allowed me to smoke more often. It caused more damage to my lungs. Even though I've been having high blood sugar, the medicines allow me to indulge more into more sugar, more fat, and more unhealthy eating habits. And even with my stomach acid reflux, I used to have where I couldn't even lay flat on my back. I would only be able to lay just on one side all the time. I had to have about 90 pillows. I'm exaggerating, but I used to have to at least have about 3 or 4 pillows where I'm during there sitting up in bed sleeping. I couldn't lay down flat at all. I would start having bowel eruptions and acid eruptions going on in my throat, burning sensations all in my throat, spitting up acid, all from laying down. I might end up throwing up, So, taking acid medicine like Pepcid, the purple pill, and some other so-called, antacid medicines, popping Tums, and it was another one I used to be popping all the time. But I know I used to be biting on them Tums like crazy. I used to get the colorful ones, but it had to be the colorful one. I don't know why that was a big situation. I don't know why I just get the white one, but the color ones always appealed to me. It's madness, I know. But when I ate those and chewed on those antacid pills and took the Pepcid, it allowed me to eat more hamburgers. It allowed, because I couldn't eat the hamburgers and eat a lot of food when the acid was built up in my chest and my stomach was hurting and stuff. I didn't have a desire for food. But when I took the medicine, it quieted my stomach. It stopped the eruptions from coming up because there was no acid in my stomach now, because that bicarbonate, that sodium bicarbonate, and that baking soda and all that, it absorbed all the acid. It neutralized the acid. But the acid was there for a reason, to burn up all that waste material that I had left over in my stomach. But since I use medicine, I didn't have the stuff, so I could go back to eating. So I'm back to eating more hamburgers now. I'm eating more fries. So I'm just accumulating more waste in my digestive tract. I started gaining way more weight and all this type of stuff. But what I'm telling you is that my bad habits were not corrected with medicine intake. The medicine allowed me to continue in my bad habits. Matter of fact, in one of our books, I want to read something to you. This is a book you can go to Amazon and get, or you can give us a call at 912-227-9335 and order, and we can send it to you. But this book is a book named The 10 Ways of Health. And in the beginning of it, we got a quote from Ellen White. I don't know if y'all familiar who Ellen White is. But Ellen White is one of the originators of the Seventh-day Adventists. religion. And back in 1900, she said, many persons bring disease upon themselves by their self-indulgence. They have not lived in accordance with natural law. Others have disregarded the laws of health in their habits of eating and drinking, dressing or working. Often, some form of vice is the cause of the feebleness of mind or body. Should these persons gain the blessings of health, many of them will continue to pursue the same course of heedless transgression of God, natural and spiritual laws, reasoning that if God heals them in answer to prayer, they are at liberty to continue their unhealthy practices and to indulge perverted appetites without restraints if God were to work a miracle in restoring these persons to health. He would simply be encouraging their unhealthy living habits. So that's pretty much Ellen White was talking about me even before I even knew who Ellen White was. She already was explaining Ferrante and what Ferrante was going to be doing in his life back in 1900. I didn't even know nothing about her until here recently. So back there when I was doing what Ellen White is talking about here, I didn't know her. And you go to some of these doctors, and I hear it all the time. They go to the doctor and complain about they can't eat hamburger. Oh, it's a shame you can't eat hamburger. You shouldn't be denied hamburger. I'll get you back to eating hamburgers in no time. I got a medicine that will override your body. Your body is rejecting hamburger, but we're gonna override that body. That body shouldn't do you like that. You should be able to eat all the hamburgers you want. So they give you a medicine that will dumb the body down, stop the body from rejecting the hamburger. Now, this is medical science. This is the medical way to do things, and we think that that's proper intelligence. But it's really destructive. It's an error. Now, Ellen White knew the true cause of disease in the restoration process. She realized that all our diseases are linked directly to our personal habits and environmental conditions. Everything that you are suffering in your body is due to your own personal habits and the environment around you. If that environment, you live in close to International Paper and all that fume and smoke start pouring all around your neighborhood, then people in your community is going to start suffering. People in a community miles and miles away are not going to suffer from the poisoning of that paper mill faster than the people who are right there in the community where the paper mill is. If the water in that community, like here in Port Wentworth, they had a main break not too long ago where, the water was just toxic and people were unaware. They put it out on the news, but nobody really watched the news anymore. Everybody kind of on Facebook. People ain't, they were still using it. By the time that people started knowing that the water was messed up, 2 days had done gone by. They done been drinking, bathing, and cooking with the water, washing their clothes with this filthy water that, instead of the city just cutting the water off and not letting nobody get in, let people start calling, hey, why my water off? Well, we got a breach in the system. It's poisonous. Oh, okay, I can understand. Let me know. They just keep it running. But the environment can poison mass people. Because if all those people are subjected to that same poisoning, so you'll see more people in the environment affected by that poison. This is what you call communicable diseases. Diseases that are community specific are the result of poisoning the community. The whole community have to be indulged in the same toxic excuse me, situation or same toxic exposure for them to have the same effects or the same symptoms of poisoning or toxicity. If the Supreme Being would grant forgiveness for breaking the laws that were created by him, then he would be aiding in the breaking of the law. Why obey a law that can easily be forgiven with a prayer? We might as well break the law and immediately ask for forgiveness. So we can't go around here just, it's a law that says that we need to eat fresh fruits and vegetables to remain healthy. It's what the body's supposed to be eating. Don't supposed to be eating all this unnatural food and substances that these folks are inventing in laboratory. That's not nature. It's not natural. But we've been doing it. We started off creating these toxic concoctions in the kitchen. The kitchen was the first laboratory. Then we became more, froggy with it and created these laboratories that we've been changing rocks into bread. Satan came to Jesus and said, "Hey, man, you hungry, man. You look frail. You done been fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. Man, it's time for you to eat something. I tell you what, take the stone and turn it into bread." Now, Jesus said, "Man, you crazy, man. I'm not doing no mess like that. I'd rather wait till some fresh fruits and vegetables come around. I eat that." But mankind has been taking rocks and turning it into bread. And we've been eating that bread rock, or that rock bread, however you want to call it. And our bodies have been suffering, and they remain to suffer. And then when those poisons that's inside of us start breaking down, now you got to think about it. Our body don't have enzymes that can break anything down. It breaks fruits and vegetables down because that's what the human digestive tract was designed to do. The enzymes that are in the human digestive tract were designed to break down food particles into simple particles for the body can make use of. But there's a physiological diet for mankind. And that diet is fresh fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. And those foods need to be eaten in a uncooked state, a fresh state, without being genetically, chemically altered or anything like that. And the body can make use of it. But it can't make use of these rocks and all this other stuff that we're putting in our body. These rocks that we turn to bread. So those rocks and all those other particles of stuff that is not food that we put in our body, they still have to be broken down. But there is no enzyme that can break them down in the normal digestive tract. So the body in its wisdom have to create something to break down those particles. So the antibodies in the body have to metamorphosize or change its structure and its functions to deal with this new antigen or this new substance, this new invader, this toxic particle that we've allowed to invade our body through the act of eating, through the act of drinking, through the act of breathing, So these altered antibodies and altered enzymes are what we call violent because they dare to break down and destroy. They're destroyers. They have a parasitic, catabolic action. Now, this to the medical man seemed like, oh, the body's at war with itself. It's tearing down tissues. Well, the tissues are decaying. They're dead. They need to be torn down. But it's tearing down faster than the body can repair itself. Why? Because, they're not eating anything to repair anything with. So the body it's not like it's going to stop breaking down. The remodeling is going on. It's just that you're not bringing in healthy stuff to update the wall, update the carpet, update this, the electrical, update the roof. So the buildings start dilapidating because there's still removal that's going to take place. And this is what you're seeing that's even going on right now today. These so-called violent viruses that they're seeing as just action of the body getting rid of decaying matter. You know. You know, why should we ever worry about getting caught for speeding? Why do we ever have to worry about eating healthy if, you know, we can be forgiven for it with the take of a pill, the take of a potion? You know, we don't have to exercise, right? Let's go cut our stomach in half. You know, we don't have to eat, right? Let's go, you know, tie our stomach up. This is the mindset that the medical people are giving us, and we're receiving it, and we're causing harm to our body. We're causing harm to our self and our health by taking these piecemeal approaches towards health. Now that was Ellen White. Like I said, that's actually on the first page of our book called The 10 Ways of Health. All right. The 10 Ways of Health. Now, it's not 10 ways of health. Like, you can't choose and say, well, I'm going to choose way 1, or I'm going to choose way 2, or I'm going to choose way 3. It don't work that way. All 10 ways are necessary for you to have optimum health. Those are the 10 ways. There's like the 10 ingredients in baking a cake. There's 10 ingredients in baking a cake. You can't say, well, I'm just going to use 1 and it can make a good cake. No, all 10 are required to bake a cake. So health, there's 10 ways, there's 10 ingredients for optimum health, for the best health or the best cake there is. And those need to be done in the right balance. You know, you can't over put sugar in there. It's going to be too sweet. You can't over flour it or it'd be too doughy. You can't put too much eggs in there, or you can't put too less eggs in there. You can't put too less sugar. It's not going to be sweet enough. It's going to be bread. So it's got to be in the right balance. And it's the same thing with health. You know, health, there's 10 ways or 10 ingredients that you must apply to your body, and they must be in balance. Like, you can't over sun. You got to go out there and get adequate amounts of sun, but you can't over sunbathe, and neither should you under sunbathe. Water is a requisite for health, you know, so you can't over drink water. You'll drown yourself, and water log your cells. But if you don't drink enough, then you're going to dehydrate yourself. So it must be in balance as well. Food, you know, you want to eat proper amounts of food to satisfy hunger. Overeating, you can cause harm to the digestive tract. You can, you know, cause obesity to develop in your body. If you undereat, you can starve yourself to death. You know, so it's about balance in these natural states or these natural ingredients toward health. And this is what you want to do to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So that book actually explained the 10 ways of health and how to get it in balance. Like I said, you can go to Amazon, look it up, 10 Ways of Health, type in Ferrante Frazier, the book will come up. You can order it up there. And I think Amazon can get it to you real quick. I think it can get it to you quicker than I can at a cheaper price with shipping. You know, I can still get it to you. You can call us at 912-227-9335 at Savannah Natural Health. Now, also wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, a lot of us tend to believe that our opinion, which is not based on reason or actual experience, are the principles to health. You know, it's often difficult to correct some old ideas. You know, I've been listening to a lot of people on Facebook. I had a lot of people been calling in, and most of them, you know, I got people from all walks of life, you know, calling a holistic clinic or calling doctors and telling them what health is and what they should be taking and oh, you got to be wrong and stuff like that. That's like, I guess you arguing with your lawyer, or, you know, you're talking to people who actually do this type work, who going around and heal a lot of people. And you come to them and you tell them, like I said, a lot of times I call them a doctor. I even call some of my clients that when they tend to tell me what is best for them. I'm like, why did you even waste your money coming to me? Dr. Bob, Dr. Susie. You tell me what you think is best for you, and I'll take your money for you to be your own doctor if that's what you want to do, if you don't want to listen to me. But a lot of times, those who are willing to listen, even some of those, we still have to get away from some of those old ideas that they heard. And even some of them old ideas have no merit to them. They still are ringing true in the ears of the people who come, especially with this herbs and remedies. I ain't mad at nobody and judging anybody about, going into the herb mind from the medical mind. What I'm saying is, even me, I started believing in medical doctors. I even wanted to be a medical doctor once upon a time. But then I saw the error in medicine and the medical profession with just drugging and not really helping people to correct their health issues where they don't suffer from that and don't have to be sitting there taking medicine the rest of their life and developing a more chronic issue because the cause of their problem hasn't been addressed. But I went from the medical profession to going into a herbal field. So I left one drugging profession to go to another drugging profession. And I mean, I had cabinets and, closets full of different herbs and remedies and stuff. I was studying herbology and all the different types of herbs and their benefits. I could have called it offhand to people, But these things didn't help me per se. They hindered me in really, truly healing. Matter of fact, some of them, I believe, caused damage to my body, some damage that possibly can't even be corrected now because I overindulged with them. I mean, I liberally dosed my body up with huge amounts of herbs and remedies of the so-called natural, you say field, they call it natural, but it's not natural to take herbs and remedies. Like I said, no animal in nature takes it, so it's not natural. So I went from the medical profession to, the medical mindset of taking chemical drugs to taking herbal drugs. And then went to abandon all drugs and just modified my lifestyle and my environment that will promote health in my body. And I noticed that was the only thing that gave me health and sustained my health, provided that I maintain that good lifestyle habits and a good environment. When I change my environment and I start going back into a bad lifestyle of eating bad, drinking bad, smoking, staying up late, not exercising, keeping a bunch of toxicity in my life, not keeping my poise, just out, just doing just stuff with no regards to the waste of energy, my energy becomes low, and then I start suffering sickness. I start suffering disease, start having drainage and all type of stuff coming from my nose. Start having the diarrheas and all type of stuff. But then when I go back to, I did this for many years, especially at the beginning of this, it took me a little minute to say, hey, I need to do this thing right if I want to really get rid of this diabetes, if I really want to, get this weight off me, because I just kept going back and forth. I do right for a little minute, and I go and do wrong. It was like what you call it, a seesaw, up and down, up and down. But this is a lifestyle that you have to maintain. if you want to maintain health. You can't expect to just go and wash one day and then go back out there running in the mud and think that you're going to stay clean. You're going to have to constantly wash and stay out of the mud. That is going to be the only way to really maintain the health that you need to, make sure that you don't suffer the diseases. Now, we've been told a lot of stuff by a lot of people, and the only way you can really clear out and get a person to understand, you have to expose some of the lies. A lot of people say, why are you always attacking the medical people? Why are you always attacking, talking about health, the medical errors and stuff like that? Well, if we can expose the errors, then the lie would be left there standing. If I can show you the true cause of disease, that germs are not the cause of disease, then hey, you're going to realize that, it's my own bad habit. So if you can expose the lie in the medical profession teachings, then the truth of holistic health would be left standing. Now, it's not always necessary that we expose the lies of the medical profession, because some people take holistic health for what it is. I can tell somebody, hey, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds is the ideal diet for human health. For you to feel better, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. Now, the average person will say, whoa, right, that makes sense. Some people call you a quack doctor by telling them they need to eat more fruits and vegetables. Oh, I can't eat fruits and vegetables. That's crazy, man. You're talking crazy. You tell people to go to sleep and get more rest. Oh, you're a quack doctor. You tell people they need to drink clean water and stop drinking toxic chemical laden water. Oh man, what are you talking about? That can't be the cure. Well, I don't believe in cures, but I believe the body cures itself. That's the only cure there is healthy living. And the body would do the work of healing itself. That's called metabolism. It's been going on since the first man appeared on earth. The first organism has its own state of metabolism, its own repairing, breaking down, and building up system. And this is a system that the body, the organism itself, uses to protect and preserve this body, this organism. All right. Now, this organism, it doesn't need any prompter. It don't need no help. It don't need no jump start, like it need a jumper cable to start it into action. Just like you don't need you don't need no medicine to make your body sweat when you're in the heat. Your body don't need help in creating sweat and cooling your body down. You go into the heat, you don't have to say, well, I need to take a pill where I can start sweating, where I can cool down. That's not how it works. The body, once the issue is presented to the body acts to preserve itself in the best way it knows how, with the energy that it has on hand. So whatever energy that your body has, it's going to act from that energy. If you got huge amounts of energy, it's going to react like that and defend your body at the highest level possible. If your energy levels are low, it's going to somewhat help your body, somewhat protect you from, the environment and your poisonous habits. If you have no energy, then your body's just going to have to just succumb and die to the conditions around. It's like you left your house open with no protection. Your vitality is your protection. It's your army. It's your your functioning power. It's your defense. All that. But if you don't have the energy on hand, then your house is wide open, and you're constantly putting poisons in your body, and you're in a community that don't even care about cleanliness. They only care about money. So they don't care if your water clean. They don't care if your air clean. They don't care if your soil is healthy. They don't care about your food growing in healthy soil. They just want more money. So put chemicals in your water. They'll put chemicals in your ground. They'll put chemicals and toxins in your air. And you have to drink that. You have to breathe that. And you have to eat that. And as you do so, your body don't have the energy to neutralize and reject this stuff. So you break down even faster and you end up dying. Our body is always trying to throw off these toxins of our lifestyles and our you say our homes and stuff, and what we're eating in our community and all. So if it's doing that, then how are we going to be healthy when we just take drugs if we don't correct our lifestyle habits or correct our environment? If we don't stop poisoning our air, poisoning our water, poisoning our land, I don't care how much vaccines you take. I don't care how much, drugs you take or treatments, how many needles you poke in your joints, how many times you get the man to crack your back and your neck and all type of stuff. I don't care how efficient the herbologist is with his knowledge of herbs. Those things can't help you if your conditions warrant, this poisonous to stop. Our habits have to change if we want to maintain health. We're really coming up to the end of this show, and I did a lot of just freelance talking instead of digging down into a specific topic today. I was just sharing a little bit about my health, my journey, and how my ignorance allowed my body to break down. And that ignorance was because I put my trust and belief in medicine. I thought medicine was cure, and I used medicine that I may maintain my bad habit. And when I abandoned medicine, guess what I did? I went to herbal drugs, and I used that out of ignorance. And it allowed me to continue my bad habits. I enjoyed my bad habits. I enjoyed my addiction. But it came a point where even the medicine just wasn't going to work. That's what led me to the herbs. Then the herbs lost their power. And that's what drove me to say, hey, what can I do to be healthy? And I came into the knowledge of natural hygiene. Natural hygiene gave me that way to be exactly that healthy, provided that I follow those ways of health that we talk about in that book, The 10 Ways of Health. And if you follow this show, I've talked to you about the 10 Ways of Health so many times. So I want you to continuously follow our show that come on every Tuesday at 6 o'clock, where we talk about holistic health and healing. We talk about updated sicknesses that's going on, and we talk about the ones that have gone from the past, and we just do some teaching to teach you how to live in such a way where you don't even have to worry about that foolishness. Like I was telling some people today, you got this so-called, you're going to keep these different variations of the so-called virus because the conditions of health hasn't changed, and we're coming up with new medicines to fight the old ones. And so something have to come and break down this poisonous medicine you're putting in your body. So the antibodies got to alter themselves to deal with this new injected poison. So there's variations to our sicknesses because we are not addressing the true cause. Once we address the true cause, there'll be no more variation. There won't even be that variation of it. You know, you can't get a man to become drunk unless he drank. He's just not going to be stumbling excessively, urinating, throwing up all over himself, even urinating on himself, slurring the speech, dumbfounded, stumbling all over the place. It's not going to happen unless you indulge in, poisonous substances. That person is poison who does all that stuff. That stuff is not going to be to a person who hasn't poisoned himself. He walks straight. He don't urinate all over himself. He don't slur at the mouth and talk dumb out of his head. You know, or stumble into everybody. That's not what he do. That's not what a person who hasn't been poisoned does. So the symptoms that we're seeing in individuals talking about, hey, they're healthy individuals around here sneezing and coughing. They're not healthy if they're sneezing and coughing. If you see the man waddling and stumbling and he get up there to the cop and the cop say, hey, have you been drinking, sir? And you be like, well, sir, walk this line. And he, you're going to say, well, it's a possibility that he ain't been drinking. How does this non-drinker do all this stumbling and pissing all over himself and all the symptoms of, alcohol poisoning? You smell it all over his breath. So when you see these people you're talking about, well, they didn't have no underlying causes, they never had this problem before. Well, there's the first time for everything. There's nobody had a heart attack prior to their first heart attack. Nobody had cancer prior to their first cancer. Nobody had a nosebleed prior to their first case. There got to be a first case. I hear people say that all the time. I've never had this issue before. Where's it coming from? Well, it's the first time for everything. You built up. Everything you've done in your life led up to this point. Every food you ate, every drink you drank, every breath you breathed, every thought you thought led up to this point where you're at right now. So yes, this is the first time that you're having it. Yeah, this is what you got. All it takes for you to do, though, is to reverse those issues that you got going on, is to get in line with nature, become natural as self. Get away from that artificial hygiene. Get away from those medical suppressant pills and palliative measures and all the so-called herbal remedies. And that's what I wanted to say before I got off topic a little bit. If you really pay attention to herbs, even medicine, but herbs, let's just look at herbs for a minute. Now, just recently, all you heard people talking about was sea moss. Sea moss can cure this. Sea moss can cure that. Sea moss can get rid of COVID. Sea moss can do this. You're not hearing about sea moss that much no more. It's elderberry now. Elderberry can cure flu-like symptoms. Elderberry can do this. Elderberry can do this. What happened to sea moss? Sea moss done lost his fame already. Elderberry going to lose his fame in just a minute as well, because elderberry used to have fame many times. It done came about and done died, came about and done died, and came about and done died, just like sea moss. These stuff ain't new stuff. They're resurrecting these old wise fables, these old remedies and cures from the dead. They keep resurrecting them from the dead, only to bury them again in just a little while, because they have no curing effects. They have no healing abilities. The body heals itself, people. If the body heals itself, why do we need cures? Why do we need medicine? If the body cures itself, why do we need medicines and herbs if the body heals itself? Makes no sense, you know. And if the body heals itself, if we're taking medicines and the body heals itself, how do we know that the medicine works? Because if a person don't take the medicine and their body heals itself, they didn't need medicine. So the other person probably didn't need medicine either, right? No, they didn't. No, probably they did need medicine. It's just that their body healed in spite of them using medicine. Now, I was talking about the Band-Aid to people. You know, I could have a wound on my hand right here. I don't have to put a Band-Aid up there, and it'll heal. If I put a Band-Aid up there, it'll heal. It might heal slowly because it's going to stay wet under there, and it'll never form a scab, so it'll slow down the healing. It'll heal quicker if I just expose it to air and just keep it clean. It'll scab up real quick and heal. So actually, the Band-Aid slows down the healing. It doesn't heal anything. That's the same thing with other medicines and herbs. They slow down a metabolic process. They slow down the healing process. Metabolic is the healing process. The tearing down and the building up. That's the healing process of the body. So anything that slows down or stop a metabolic process is dangerous, especially if it's one that's dealing with a major threat. You don't want to slow down a process that's preserving your body from some internal poison that you then ingested that have to come out. Let's say that you swallow a poison and your body start throwing up. You see it where you start regurgitating food or you regurgitating some other poison. Matter of fact, if you overdose, they want to pump your stomach to get that stuff up out of you. Now, if that throwing up is to reject stuff out of your stomach, well, what's the difference in when your body rejects rotten food or other poisonous food that you put in there? And you want to stop that from happening. But that's a safety mechanism, just like the doctor pumping your stomach of all these drugs out of there where it don't kill you. This poison got to come out of you. So is the other poisons that we allow into our body. It got to come up out of us. The body rejects it. The body pumps its own stomach, when it has the power to do so. It'll have you throwing up until it just can't do it no more. And that's what you see in a lot of those drug cases. It'll have the person been throwing up, but they done weaken themselves so much that it's nothing else they can do. Or the poison done knock them out too quick that the body just can't even do nothing about it. The body just have to just succumb and die. So my time is running up. I just want to tell y'all, I really do appreciate y'all always tuning in to look at our shows. And please, please share it with other people. Hit the share button right now. And share with someone this knowledge of holistic health. May be able to help somebody. Somebody might be looking for this information right now. Now, if you understand too, our teachings is like 1, 2, 3, ABC. We don't come up here with some elaborate formulas and statistics and all type of colored charts showing you this and talking a bunch of Latin terms, Greek words, to keep you in darkness, to keep you baffled about what we're talking about. We come to you with simple words, teaching you the ways of health. You got to get fresh air. You got to get sunlight. You got to eat more clean food. You got to stay away from toxic people. You got to keep the will to live. You got to make sure that your temperatures are neutral and make sure that you exercise often. Keep cleanliness in your environment. That's just pure talk. That's I can tell that to a baby and the baby understand that. But when the medical doctor come out there talking, well, the pH balance of the electrolytes of the body is such and such. If you look at this chart and you see that the statistics shows that it goes up to 7.8 when the index of the right hemisphere turns you wonder, what is he talking about? I be wondering what that. And I know science, and I be wondering what they talking about. Oh man, but anyhow, y'all have a great week, and I'll be looking forward to talking to y'all again next week on Tuesday, same time, 6 o'clock. Y'all have a great one. Best of health and happiness. I love y'all.